How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did see the break to 57k. We did hit that support level perfectly. We did make a bounce. This could be positive if followed by a strong green candle, because this could be a long lower shadow candle. Our stochastic is pulling back, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is pulling back. So I would watch. Our total is selling off as well. We can jump into that as well. We did drop to the bottom of our pattern, but we did not break our pattern. So we do still have the chance to push forward. Just like Bitcoin, I would watch for a strong green candle here, as we have seen a sell-off for a number of days. And you don't sell off for, you don't keep selling off. Eventually you're going to retrace. Like back here, you saw a strong sell-off. We did eventually retrace. We had a strong buying period, and now we sold off due to that. So now we could see the opposite. So you do see these fluctuations when there's too much buying or selling. Eventually it has to reverse. VWAP does want to pull back, momentum is dropping, money flow does want to break down, stochastic is weakening, and RSI is pulling back. So over on Bitcoin, we could jump back to the 4-hour for you. Since total really isn't too exciting, we can cover the altcoins and they'll follow total, and the altcoins, they're pretty similar. Our stochastic here on the 4-hour for Bitcoin does want to round away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is starting to round. Momentum is starting to pull back. I would watch that momentum. The blue wave is favoring bearish. If it continues to favor bearish, we could see our money flow remain red, and we could reject that neutral. If that VWAP stays above this neutral, that yellow wave, then we can push forward. Again, if that VWAP stays bullish with higher highs and higher lows, momentum will gain strength, money flow could go from red to green, and then we could see some buying pressure, but that would be dependent on lower time frames. Over on the 2-hour, we had a big long lower shadow candle here. We did follow it with indecision, but then we got a strong green candle next that gave us a push up. If we can stay above these EMA levels and break that blue EMA and hold, then we could continue forward. However, if we stop out by either of these EMAs, it's likely we would continue with lower highs and lower lows, and that would give us a chance to break down again. So I would watch that very close. That VWAP is pulling back, watch for a higher low. If we get higher low, momentum could push up, money flow could become bullish still, and we could see a push forward, but right now money flow is red, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1-hour, we do have an EMA rejection. Our EMAs did try to cross, and now we are pulling back. We have a long lower shadow followed by a long upper shadow. So if this follows with a strong red candle, we could push down. However, if we see a strong green candle, we could attempt to push away from this descending channel and then try to push forward. Our stochastic does want to pull back overall. We do have orange above blue, RSI is pulling back, momentum has a red dot, that VWAP is pulling back, watch that VWAP. If it breaks this neutral and holds, we will see momentum break down and money flow would remain bearish. If that money flow remains bearish, then we will continue to sell off, and we could end up filling that candle wick and dropping lower. That would be more ideal, because then we will not have that gap on futures still. Remember, if we kind of stays above that gapped area, we could still have that gap on futures, and futures does lead Bitcoin. So if that gap does not get filled there, we do still have to revisit it. So over on a graph for the daily, stochastic does want to pull back. While we don't have to, there's an 80% chance. RSI wants to pull back, VWAP is bearish, momentum is breaking down, and money flow wants to pull back. Over on the 4-hour here, we are staying below that green EMA, so I would watch as we trend below this EMA. We will continue to trend lower, and we did break our 14,316, so I would watch for a push down toward that 1157 if we do not hold a consolidation range like somewhere in this 13,642. Our stochastic does have a bearish cross, and we are breaking down, bringing RSI and price lower. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping. We do have a green dot as that VWAP does want to break bullish, so watch that VWAP close. If we get higher highs and higher lows here, momentum could reverse. However, if that VWAP peaks in bullish territory and then rejects like back here, then it's likely momentum will break down, money flow will continue lower, and we would sell off, so watch those lower time frames. Over on the 2-hour, we have lower highs and lower lows that really don't connect, so this may not be that descending channel to push us up. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is rounding away, momentum is breaking down, money flow is pulling back, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1-hour, we do have a gap above us, so if we do continue to sell off, That is positive because that gives us an area of resistance to push back to and try to fill, and then we can get support there to push higher. VWAP does want to pull back. We have higher highs. Watch if we can break that neutral. If we can break back and hold, we could push forward, but right now we do have a lower low. So watch for lower lows and lower highs here. If we see lower lows and lower highs here, momentum will break down, money flow will weaken, and price action will follow. That could trend us down toward those two support areas that we just mentioned. Over on Ankr for the daily, we did break that value area low of our fixed range volume profile, so we are pushing that 2338. I would watch. If we continue seeing red candles here, it's likely we could push to 2020. We do have a candle wick there that we could fill. Remember, wicks are like gaps. VWAP does want to pull back. Momentum is pushing down, so stochastic is favoring bearish. RSI is pushing down, so overall, I would exercise caution. Over on the 4-hour here, we do have lower highs and lower lows. They really don't connect. They could make a triangle here, a descending triangle. So I would watch. Remember, descending triangle does what its name suggests, and it makes you descend. So stochastic wants to pull back. RSI is selling off. VWAP is trying to break bullish, but we have a kind of indecision here. I would watch that break to the bullish side. Right now isn't very strong. If it ends up being like this wave here, and then we just fold over, we could see momentum remain bearish, money flow could continue to weaken, and we would see further sell-off, so watch the lower time frames to determine if that's possible. If we do that, though, we do have a gap to the upside, so that is positive. We have several gaps to the upside now, so we do have areas to push toward. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is rounding away, momentum is starting to round, and money flow is bearish, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we are rounding away with several gaps above us, so we have like 4 gaps just in recent price history. We may try to push forward and fill those, but stochastic does want to pull back. We have a bearish cross, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is rounding with a red dot, and money flow is pulling back. So watch that VWAP close. If it continues to drop here, we could see bearish favor and start to break down, and that would weaken our higher time frames. Over on XRP for the daily, we are struggling with that 300 EMA again, so I would exercise caution. If we lose that, that's where we will push to our 54. And remember, if we lose that, we do have ranges like our 45, 50 zones. RSI wants to pull back, VWAP is pulling back, momentum's favoring bearish, money flow is flat, so watch that VWAP on lower time frames. If it breaks down, we will continue lower. Over on the 4 hour, we could have a bearish engulfing candle here where the red candle is as big as the previous green candle or bigger. If we follow this with a strong red candle, we could end up breaking down. So stochastic wants to pull back. We have a bearish cross. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is starting to favor bearish, so watch for a lower high. If we get a lower high here, followed by consistent lows, then momentum will break down with bearish favor and money flow will pull back as well. Over on the 2 hour here, we did reject that blue EMA. We do have an indecision doji candle, so I would watch. If we follow this with strong red candles, we could push down. This is trying to be a long lower shadow candle though, so if followed by a strong green candle, we could push and break that blue resistance. If we do not break that blue EMA, then it's likely we will trend lower. So stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is starting to round away, momentum is pulling back, and money flow does want to reject that neutral, so watch VWAP close. If we get lower lows from here, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will pull back, and higher time frames will sell off. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pulling back. We do have a orange above our blue, sorry about that. We have our orange above blue, so that is a bearish cross. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is pushing down, momentum does want around, money flow is pulling back. So overall, we do have bearish favor here. If that VWAP trends below this neutral area from here, momentum will reject crossing, money flow will remain bearish, and higher time frames will break down. So over on ALGO for the daily, we are seeing a bearish cross on our EMAs here. That is bringing us lower, so I would exercise caution. We are seeing further red candles. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is breaking bearish as well, and money flow is breaking down. So overall, the daily is leaning more bearish. We're struggling to hold those EMAs, and if we do not hold this 12 consolidation range from back here, then we will push to that 1032 support level. Over on the 4 hour here, we are trending below our green EMA, our weakest EMA. So remember, if we do not get back above it, it's likely we will continue lower, but we have seen a very violent sell-off. So it's likely we would retrace at some point. If we continue selling off in this fashion, then we could have a very quick push back to the upside. RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is selling off. VWAP does want to break that neutral, watch that VWAP close. If it breaks and holds, momentum will push forward and money flow could gain strength. It would help negate the selling pressure and start to make us bounce. Money flow is overall weakening due to that VWAP favoring bearish, so watch lower time frames. If our VWAP stays bullish on this 2 hour, we could strengthen that 4 hour. Momentum does want to pull back, money flow wants to pull back. Stochastic is running up though, and RSI is flat. So if stochastic continues to push up and VWAP stays bullish, we could start to bounce here. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a rounding top that could be forming, so I would watch for a break of that 1197. If we break that, we're likely going to pull back, but we do have a gap to the upside if we do that. Stochastic does have a bearish cross with orange above blue. RSI is pulling back. VWAP does have a bearish break, so I would watch that VWAP. If it continues to favor bearish here, momentum will continue lower, money flow will remain bearish, and those higher time frames will start to pick up bearish sentiment, so I would exercise caution. Watch that VWAP very close. We need to break above like very soon. If we pull back any lower and then we see lower lows and lower highs, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will sell off, and we would break down. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.